Love is a way of building to a crescendo. Ride if you will, ride it with me. Good morning, everybody. I have got something new. It arrived this morning. I just decided it's just too neat to not try. So this is the OXO Brew Rapid Brewer. And I've been watching Lance Hendrick do some videos on it, and I'll be linking his video down below. He says that it's been giving him great coffee, and he kind of has a step-by-step process that got him great coffee, so I'm kind of excited to go through that. There are several pieces to this. It's a lot like an AeroPress in many ways and completely different in several others. The main similarity is the pump. There's a pump and it's pump driven. It's not really pressure driven. It's a pump driven system. I guess pump is pressure, but it doesn't build up too many bars like when you're doing espresso. Let me show you here. So this is the AeroPress, and it is what it does. It presses air through this with a filter in order to extract an amount of coffee, usually after a little bit of a brewing time. Of course, you also have the attachment that I bought for it, which works really, really well if you don't really want to use filters, but you should use a filter with that because it's helpful. But let's get this thing out. It's got several pieces to it. Again, OXO Brew. OXO does quite a few kitchen things. We've actually got quite a few kitchen things here from OXO that we use on a regular basis. Here's the devise. Here is the propaganda. Goes through your things. They recommend fine, which is it's a weird standard of measurement. Especially when you have a stepped grinder. There are no grinders that say fine on it most of the time. Actually, this one does. So there's coarse, medium, fine, and extra fine. Extra fine is espresso. For the rapid brewer, they want fine. Of course, it's really weird because this says extra fine for espresso, and this is just fine on the little, yeah. There are no standards and practices here. It's all, everybody's wing-dinging it because they want to be proprietary for the most part. Anyway, so you get a tamper and a coffee basket. You've got your pump, you got a water chamber. The coffee basket is here, and then there's a carafe at the bottom to catch all of the wonderful coffee. They talk about cold concentrates, they talk about hot concentrates. Usually they say a 1 to 2 or 1 to 3. I also just remembered I didn't get any half and half. It's a bit of a bummer, but that's okay. Here are some recipes. Troubleshooting, cool. All right, so there's that. There's that to the side. Let's get this oot in a boot here. So we have our brewer. Here's our little bottom carafe that goes in the bottom. Tamper must be in the coffee basket. And it is. Nice. So here's our tamper for the coffee. This is the basket. It's got a little shower screen here, basically, a little micro hold thingy, because the coffee goes in here and then the water goes in the chamber above. And then you use the pump here to pump air. Now that's the biggest difference between this device and the AeroPress. The piston doesn't come in contact with the water or the coffee in the OXO Rapid Brewer. In the AeroPress, there is a potential, if you're into that sort of thing, to press down and put the rubber stopper onto the coffee bed, which doesn't hurt anything. Some people say it makes it taste a little bit more bitter if you press all the way through and onto the puck of coffee. Sometimes that's true, depends on the coffee, depends on your personal tastes, if that's something that you're into or not. With this, it's all basically just manual. This has a slight mechanical part to it in that it opens up a valve that's right here. I know it's really hard to see. There, maybe that's a little bit better. But there's a black valve right there that it kind of opens up when it pushes the air through. So with this, the entire thing pushes the air through. So we can give this a little bit of a wash here. These are plastic, this is metal. The top of that's metal, that's plastic and rubber. So if you have a problem with plastic, that's fine, and this is probably not for you. However, at the same time, I don't have any problems with plastic, and we kind of see, look at it shower. If you just let gravity do what it needs to do with this, it's actually hard to keep water in the device because the holes are a lot bigger. And that's just the way everything works. All right, let's wash that out and wash that out. Okay. Now, I've kind of gotten the gist of Lance's recipe that he was using. I'm going to have to watch it a couple of times. I've already written down some of it here. This is a plastic tamper. It fits well down. It fits like perfectly down in here, and is used to flatten the coffee and tamp the bed a little bit to make everything flat. So if it's not a flat bed, you have a chance of channeling, and that is not what you want. Oop. And we're hot. Okay, now we need to get the coffee figured out. I do have the volcanic reserve here. We may jump around a little bit as I go back to the video. I've got the video over here waiting to go again because I'll have to see. I need to see exactly what needs to happen here. Now it's he said between 22 and 24 grams of coffee for the recipe he's got. So let's just do. We'll split the middle and we'll go up to 23 grams. I've got this. See, and like I said, he's very technical to a certain point. I kind of like his videos because he explains everything. He goes through his reviews. I've got this set to 25, which is on the thicker side of espresso. And we're going to put this through. Now, just like an AeroPress, you can't really press it while it's on the scale, but we can measure out our water, I think. So let's put, probably we can use this to measure our water, can't we? I have to, let me see, how much water can I put into this thing? For hot coffee, finely ground, tamp coffee, add water. Fill the line. Oh, there's a line in the water chamber. It's 5.6 ounces or 160 milliliters. Okay, so this does have a little line in it. Oh, there it is. There's a fill line right there. So we can kind of start to build our stuff. Now I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna follow his instructions. I could follow the instructions in here and I could actually just do that. Maybe we'll just do a coffee out the gate here. This is all really for concentrate, it seems like. 1 to 2 coffee ratio, diluted with 4 to 6 ounces of water. We'll eyeball it. I mean, I'm pretty good at that. So we'll do it as they say here. So basically, add water, pump after wait time is over. So they're like wait 2 minutes. So we'll wait 2 minutes. The biggest, and I'm just going to do it. Oh, I got water all over the place, didn't I? Oh, wonder. Oh, looky there. That's cool. All right. Well, that makes everything so much easier. Our little tamper here, it's not wet. We'll just put it down in here. Give it a little spin, tamp it down. Boom. Lovely. Super simple. Screw this on. Another thing that I think we're not going to have to worry about as much with this is with the AeroPress, you immediately start to get water distribution into your cup. So This might not be that way because there's a lot more in between. Plus, we press this down to pack it rather than that being loose in the bottom of the cup, because there's really no way, unless you get like a long hand tamper, to come down and tamp the coffee, because by the time you're together like this, you've put coffee down at the bottom and there's really no way to get down there and tamp it. So you're basically tamping it with the pressure as it's going down. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put this here, we're going to put this here. We're going to fill it up to the water line. We'll see how many grams that is. I'm sure he goes past the water line in his video, but we're going to do it as the people suggest we do it. So I'm going to start. I'm going to put it up to the water line here. I'm going to see how much water that is. Uh, 140 grams. Go a little more. Do 145. 145 grams. 145 milliliters. I think it said 160 milliliters, didn't it? Yeah. So you can, okay, so let's just put 160 milliliters in there then. The line's a little off, but we'll do 160 milliliters. 160-ish. All right, done with the scale, except for the timer. We'll let the timer go. Now, the base doesn't screw on, it just sets. So be careful with regards to that. This does screw on though. And like I said, this is not going to come in contact with anything. So you're going to be okay. So we'll screw this all together. We'll wait about 2 minutes. And then with this, it's just pressing. We'll be pressing. So and it's going to be a concentrate. So we'll do a 1-to-1. They say a 2-to-1, 1 thing of coffee to 2 things of water. We'll do a 1-to-1 and see how that goes. Okay, I kind of switched positions. I took it down off on my shoulders and now it's here. You can kind of see there is a little bit of a drip going on down here. So it is going to kind of come through a little bit. So what basically we're going to do, we're going to take it up here and we're just going to start pressing. And we're going to press until the chamber is empty. And we don't have to go fast. We don't have to go hard. This is not difficult at all. Let it release back to the top. Push it down, release, push it. This is not hard. And I'm not sure if it will be bad or good. So we're basically putting pressure in the chamber. That's what we're doing. Because it's sealed up. So basically each pump is putting air pressure in the chamber. It didn't say there was a maximum number of pumps in here. Push down and twist. Okay, so it says 4 to 5 times. You can kind of hear a hiss there. So there is a hiss to it. It's very interesting. But at the same time, I feel it's a lot more controllable, especially when it comes with its own carafe. Now you can't fit this. It doesn't have a lip, so and we're still hissing. And let's look at the bottom here real quick. Looky there. And that's something. That's really cool. All right. So, yeah, this won't fit. Unlike the AeroPress, this doesn't really have a lip, so it won't fit in your favorite coffee cup. Whereas, of course, the AeroPress has got this lip around it, and it'll go and sit. So, but that's cool. That's very exciting. All right, let's see what we've got here. I'm going to undo this. We're building pressure, but it's not a significant amount. It's just enough to push the water down and through. Now, when we add the paper filters, which is what these are right here, these are little AeroPress filters that I bought. When you add the filters, there's probably going to be a lot more effort. And basically, all we have up here is condensation. So I'll just put this to the side. We'll get this washed out and cleaned up. Actually, we can probably see what the puck has done. It's not outrageously hot. Well, we can kind of see the puck here It's not really a puck. There are peaks and valleys. I know you can't really see that, and I'm sorry, but there are peaks and valleys. And there's some residue on the side. I think that's just from the water. So, okay, so this is probably going to be really nightmarish to clean out. And indeedly do. It is not great. So when we get the papers involved, I'll bet that'll make it even better. This is a pretty good angle, don't you think? I'm gonna have to try this tomorrow. So let's do a sip of it just the way it is. It still smells like that wonderful Black Label. It definitely smells a little bit more concentrated, a little bit stronger in smell. Oh, yeah, and in taste. But it's not like espresso strong. It's definitely not maca pot strong. You're definitely getting a lot more water. And look at that, it's got a little spout on it. Look at that, it's already beaten Pyrex. Let me add a little bit of water. I'll do a 1-to-1. We'll get this going here like this. There we go. I could have filled up this if you wanted a more accurate measurement. You could have filled that up to a certain point, as long as you remember where your coffee was, and then fill it up that way. I'm gonna have to put more water in that now since I've wasted a bunch of it. Let's see. That is a really nice cup of coffee. Cool. Wow. Yeah, no, I really like that. Okay. This brewer, just out of the box and following the instructions, is going to get you a great cup of coffee, and it doesn't take outrageously long. I don't feel. Now, maybe you don't have enough time, and that's absolutely fine, but I think that this might actually be a really good alternative to an AeroPress if you don't want to fart around with an AeroPress, because there are a lot of parts of the AeroPress that are still dangerous. You know, and I bunny quote, dangerous, because you're still dealing with hot water. Anyway, all right, well, let's see if I can figure out Lance's. Now, what did they say coffee-wise? They said 20 grams of coffee for hot concentrate. So I hit about 23 grams of coffee for hot concentrate, which seemed fine and turned out really well. So let's go for what Lance does. It's a little bit more involved. Thinking about getting artsy again. I start out with the thing on top of my head over my shoulders to kind of introduce what's going on, and then I kind of turn to this perspective because this is actually not bad. It's not on top of me. I'm not moving around. You're not moving around. I mean, there might be some good to do here. I mean, I could also put the GoPro here. I don't know. We'll play with this. I didn't really think about sticking it in the dishwasher, you know, because there's a dishwasher handle here. So I've kind of got it in the dishwasher, and this neck is long enough to where it'll just, you know, and I can still here, or I can come around to the side, or, I mean, this is great. So maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll see how this goes. So I've got this kind of washed out. Maybe I can turn the lights up a little bit. I guess you won't see the kitties as much. I should move his box. So unless he runs by, I guess you're not going to see the cats for a minute. All right. So yeah, this, even it's mellowed out quite a bit. That tastes really good. So that's really good coffee right out of the box. And Lance has said, Lance Hendrick, who I'll link, even though he's got a ton of followers. If you've not heard of Lance, incredibly smart individual, makes it everything fun, loves what he does, which is a big part of the people that I enjoy watching. Is their sense of wonder and enjoyment is infectious. So that is a big part of my enjoyment when it comes to this kind of stuff. So I bought these. These are microfilters. They're tiny little things. I was running out, and I was going to need some anyway. AeroPress charges a lot of money for 350. This is a 500 pack. of this from Bake Choice. It's earth-friendly choice. I'm skeptical now. It could be Irish. I don't know. Oh yeah, material from Canada. So it's a 500 pack. So that's what they used to put in AeroPress boxes. I think it was around a 500 pack. And now I don't even know if you get 50 when you buy one of the new AeroPresses. It's pretty ridiculous. Anyway, so we'll go back to 22 to 24, so we'll do about a 23 gram dealy bobble here. I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna take a look and see how far he goes. I know that there was a pumping method that he does. I think he does, so again, this will be about 23 grams. I think he does like a couple of slow pumps, or one slow pump to get started, and then a couple of fast ones. I don't know. There's a method to the madness, there always is. They are definitely animals that are not into changes. Movement, that kind of thing. Matt's cousin from Minneapolis, Aria, was here this weekend. Hello to Aria and hello to Camus, who's her son. He's out doing a wilderness, semester in the wilderness. I don't think it's necessarily camping, at least not yet. There's a lot of wilderness stuff that he's learning, which is great. So I kind of wish we had that sort of thing around. I mean, we did have that sort of thing around. I lived in the middle of Wayne National Forest all of my life. So I lived in the wilderness. That was existence was my campground. And I've camped on several occasions. I like camping. I like a good camp. So, all right, so the deviation starts almost immediately, with me always, but with this recipe in specifically. Let me go get the other. See, it came with this. This is an AeroPress branded thing. So, and it was half full with papers, which I would say that would be about 500 papers, and I don't think you get nearly as much of that anymore. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put one piece of paper in the bottom here, and these are a little large, just a smidge larger. So we're going to use the tamper, press it down flat, if possible. We're going to add our coffee on top, which again, that's fantastic how that just goes on there. So there's our coffee. There's actually a line in there. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a line that kind of shows where the coffee should stop, should you be so inclined to stop the coffee. We're going to tamp that down, and then we're going to add another piece of filter paper on the top, and then we're going to wet it. I'm not as cool as I thought I was. We're going to wet it, and then I'm going to tamp that down. And there we go. It's not great. I mean, it's not flat, which I guess we shouldn't be surprised. This is not meant to be done using the paper like this. This is meant to just be there. So, you know, what are you gonna do? All right, so we're going to assemble, and as such, we will zero that. We will add water to our brew chamber. Now here's the thing, I need to go back real quick and I need to see exactly what's happening after this part because I've forgotten. I've got some of the stuff that I need at least. So we've got the coffee in between 22 and 24 grams, and I've got 23 grams of coffee in there. What we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go past the line. And we saw that we could kind of do that. And what we're going to do is it's going to be a little weird. Take that off, put that there. We're going to let it go for about a minute. And you're probably best to put the top on before you move anything, because I would hate to burn myself or have anyone burn themselves. So here's the deviation. Remember, we just kind of did nice even presses. It's going to be a little bit harder because we've got 2 filters in there, and you can kind of see I filled my filter papers up, and it was about halfway. So I would say it was about 350 papers is what it came with at one point. And now I've got the rest of my AeroPress papers, and the rest are bake choice. Okay. So we're gonna let that go for another couple of seconds, and then we're gonna do one really firm press to do a saturation. And we're gonna let that hold for about 10 seconds. And I don't know if we're going to have to go finer on our grind. We can try that tomorrow. We'll just see what this gets us now. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go really fast. A couple of pumps, and that should fill it up. There's enough pressure in there now with 4 pumps. It should just fill itself up. And those little minute changes, according to Lance, and now Lance's palate is a heck of a lot more sensitive than mine. I like pizza rolls. I'm sure he likes pizza rolls too, if I'm honest, but you know, still. He's got a lot finer coffee palate than I do. As you can see, it's still draining because of the pressure that we put in there. So we just kind of let it go. There's going to be more water. We're not in danger of overfilling the carafe at the bottom because the carafe at the bottom holds as much as up at the top. And you're losing like a percentage of water to the coffee grounds because the coffee grounds get saturated, they fill up with water, there's a ton of water in there, and you know, we're just going to lose, I don't know what, 15% of the water that we put through. That's just how it goes. Yep, we're done. And you don't have to worry about, as they say with the AeroPress, you don't have to worry about continuing to press and hiss and getting a hiss, because when you get a hiss, you're usually getting close to the bed of grounds, and then you touch the grounds, and sometimes you press into that bed, and you're pushing out coffee that's stored. It's like squeezing a sponge. It's like passing water through a sponge. The sponge gets saturated, and once it gets saturated, water just starts coming through it and around it, because it just can't hold anymore. But if you squeeze the sponge, it will release the water. And the water, whatever water was in the sponge, now has whatever flavor or color or bacterial load that was inside of that sponge. So if you squeeze the sponge, that's what's coming out. In the case of this, I'm not saying there's bacteria in your coffee, but what I am saying is that you are going to get a lot more bitterness, a lot more astringency, a lot more just really dark flavors that you may not want in your coffee. If you like an incredibly dark roast, maybe that's something for you. For me personally, I'm not really into that. So we're going to take this, and there are a lot more coffee oils on the top. You can kind of see it's a little foamy. And what he had said was in his video is that, hey, this could replace espresso. It won't. Now I wonder how this is going to taste just as it is. If it's going to be a little stronger. Like I said, there's a little bit more water in there. It does smell a little bit stronger. That's dramatically different. That's really strange. It's, well, with adding the filters is going to change the way it kind of tastes, which to a lot of people is a good thing, which to some people it might be a little bit, it smells stronger than it is. It's definitely not as strong as the coffee that came out that we added a 1-to-1 ratio of water to. It could probably use water, but it could just use just a little less water. And he just goes on about how a lot more flavors are like present. Like, you know, before it was just like kind of bitter and a bitter chocolate, With this, you know, you can kind of get like a molasses, like chocolate, brown sugar. You know, you can kind of get those kind of flavors. You know, with this, it was still great, but it was a lot less pronounced. But then you added water to it, and it kind of lessened the bitterness, and it brought out a little bit more sweetness. Because you lose bitter, you dilute the bitter, but just enough to where you're not diluting the entire coffee. So that's really cool. I find that very, very interesting. And then again, look at that beautiful spout doing its job. It's actually a really lovely shade of coffee there. I'm gonna get 2 cups of coffee today. I've actually been coffeeing it up this past weekend. Aria, I finally get a house guest that loves coffee as much as I do. So I've been making Chemex coffees all weekend. I did one clever, but the Chemex coffees, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to be able to make coffee for someone. So, and yeah, you kind of see down there's the water chamber. It feels like it's retained a little bit more heat. So yeah, so now we've got, of course, the little screen. There's no water coming out either, which is kind of nice, but has a lot to do with the fact that this micro screen right here is really good at holding back water. And then of course there's on the bottom, there's the paper filter. And it pops out nice, pops out clean. I'm gonna have to run it underwater because there's still a little bit on the side there, but it's not nearly as much of a pain in the butt. We'll have to try this with the other coffees tomorrow. It's all plastic. So yeah, so the top, it locks for easy portability. So it's very portable. So, oh, I need to taste this. I've already got all this washed out. I mean, that's how quickly you can just get this washed out and put in your strainer. It takes seconds to rinse everything out, especially if you're going to use it on a daily basis. If you're going to use it once, put it away, and then take it on a traveling, I would probably do a more thorough cleaning out. But otherwise, the taste is so different. And even adding a little bit of water to it to kind of ease it down, the taste is still there's so much brown sugar. It should just be like a hint, a note, but there's so much of a brown sugar taste in that I don't necessarily get from this preparation that they say on the box. So this is exciting, a brand new thing to try. I'll be trying it all week. Another brand new thing to try is this new shot. I think this shot is actually really good. So we'll do our initial over the head shot, and then we'll go to this, and we'll see how long this lasts. It's actually very stable. So, I mean, you don't get me shooting over the sink, washing everything out. I'm not sure who's into that. Some people might be into that. Again, plastic. There are people already doing modifications to this thing. I mean, this thing just came out not very long ago, maybe springtime. People are just getting into reviewing it, and people are just discovering how versatile and fun the device is. So I'm impressed. Day one, you know, it's ease of use, portability. You can even buy a little carrying case for it on OXO's website. It comes with a traveling cup in some instances. It's $50 just as it comes in that long box. $50. You get the device, you get a tamper, and some instructions. And, you know, that's about the same that you would get with an AeroPress. And I think an AeroPress now costs about the same. Except there's a bit more of a danger factor with the AeroPress, especially if you want to go through inverted methods and stuff like that. And I've covered inverted methods in my basic way on previous shows. So I would suggest that if you see this pop up on Amazon, and because I've been talking about it and because you've been watching it, it probably will now. Amazon, or go to, if you don't want to do Amazon, which I don't blame you, go to OXO's website. Or just type in your favorite DuckDuckGo or Opera or Safari browser, OXO Rapid Brewer. Let me bring the box back up. OXO Rapid Brewer. Look this up. If this piques your interest, there's already a couple of recipes on YouTube's Also, the recipe that comes in the box is not bad, but if you play with it and you kind of fiddle with recipes that are online, and they're all very easy. I mean, I guess there are some that allow for sawing. He mentioned, but it's like I don't really want to saw anything, you know. I just want to use it as you. Oh, look, and you can even look. There's even a lineup spot so that you know it's snug and on there. That's pretty great. What a cool thing. I mean, I'm going to use it all week. At the end, I'll let you know what I think. I mean, I can already tell you right now, I'm pretty excited for it. I mean, I love it. It's great. Thank you for watching today. I really appreciate it. We will come back tomorrow. I'll put another coffee through it, and we will discover new things. And like I said, boy, that method, I'll link Lance's method to this in the description below, along with, you know, how many grams. Unfortunately, he doesn't tell me how fine. It's not espresso fine. I think it's like on the bottom end of espresso. On this device, it's more towards maca pot, because there's maca and then there's espresso, and the line's here at 30. So it's more like 25 on this. Brought me good coffee. He talks about micron levels, and it's like, I don't know. I don't understand that. I just know what's close to espresso, but not too fine into espresso. So, I mean, give me those words. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great day. Bye.